I'm Deanne. I'm Caitlin. And this is Twin Talks. This will be our horror channel where we talk about all things horror, from movies to books to anime to pop culture and video games.
We'll also delve into the technical side, such as like lighting, sound effects, and music. It all play a part within the horror genre.
In today's video, we're talking about tropes. And there are a lot of tropes in the world.
We're kind of going through like a list of A to Z, but we're going to delve into common to uncommon to funny to outrageous sort of ones that you've either seen or not.
And today's ones will start with A through F, and we're going to give you the movies that these play most a part of today as well.
And at the end of the video, we will have a link in the description box that will take you to the site where we found all the tropes so that you can delve into more of the tropes yourself in their other various literature and media.
The first trope I'm going to start with today is anyone can die. So this is one where anybody and everybody in the film dies. Nobody is safe.
Not even like the protagonist, like if they can die, they can be killed, they're gone.
So the movies that these are most popular in are Wrong Turn.
If you've never seen the Wrong Turn movies, basically they're cannibal creatures that will eat and devour anybody, and they die in horrific ways. Wrong Turn 4, I believe, or 5 is some of the more horrific ones, which includes a man's head being blended by farming equipment. Just, if you want to be disturbed, watch those.
Another one you guys probably thought of the moment we said this is the Final Destination series, hands down. These are movies where you know that people are dying, like specifically the movies about how they die, why they die. Now granted, somebody can live like seen in the first movie into the second one,
but ultimately she still died at the end. If you say anything about spoiler warnings, I'm sorry, these movies have been out forever. You on your own. But that's the point, is in these ones, their entire thing is you can't cheat death. Meaning, you're gonna die determining no matter what.
And the last movie that actually covers into this, surprisingly, is an older one called The Thing. If you haven't ever seen it, look it up. It is fantastic to watch. Everybody in this Arctic base, they find the Thing, and this thing goes on a rampage and is killing everybody.
Even the dogs. The dogs don't even live, which if you have that problem, probably not your best option to watch.
Granted, 2 people do live at the end of the movie, but they're gonna freeze to death in the Arctic anyway, so it doesn't really matter if they got killed by the Thing or Mother Nature. So,
again, you die, you die. Next one we have up is Black Guy Dies First. I'm sorry to address this horror genre, fans, but this racist trope needs to end. We're looking at movies where within the first either couple minutes or couple like scenes, a black person is killed off first. One of the prominent ones you can think of is like Alien or Scream 2, where the guy goes into the bathroom and is immediately stabbed through the straw wall. He didn't even make it within the first 10 minutes of the movie before he got shanked. Another one is Gremlins. You remember the doctor who is like the professor who is operating on the dude? He's one of the first deaths you actually you don't really witness, but you end up seeing on screen. Ghost Ship is an older one, but is also the first one, which actually I'm going to stand corrected. That one is actually not the first one. It is the first intentional killing. The other ones are determined as accidents. But it is a still very racist trope that needs to end. We are going past the whole notion of black people dying first in horror, especially with the idea of black people not being into horror. That is also false. It just needs to end.
So our next trope on the list is the female lives to end. Now, this one is actually more prominent in older movies.
We're talking about 80s, like 80s, 90s, these old school movies like slasher flicks.
The most prominent ones you probably can think of is Friday the 13th. Michael Myers in Michael Myers Halloween.
You got Nightmare on Elm Street. Almost the very first few ones usually has the one girl living first. Another one is Black Christmas. Usually because it is a female sorority that it's about, so it still falls under it, even though ironically most of the cast is female. Another one is Alien. We're going back to old school again.
Yep.
Alien. Ripley was iconic. Some of these people can consider as either being sexist or being into feminists, that where women are the survivors, we're strong enough to survive, or that we are dumb enough to survive. You take it how you want with this. My favorite is we got Attack of the Killer, whatever. We are talking about inanimate objects or in like innocent looking things suddenly coming alive to kill you.
These movies you probably have seen or you haven't seen, depending on how much you like to look into B-list movies. Now this kind of comes from, if you remember the old school movie Christine about the killer car, think that and then make it worse.
We got Child's Play as another popular series. Granted, Child's Play can play with like voodoo magic and such, but it is a very popular one with the whole innocent looking doll coming to life.
Can also play into killer toys.
Yes. We also have a dumb classic called Thanksgiving.
If you have never seen this movie, I urge you to watch it. If you want to watch a killer turkey murder people different ways, please do, because it is the best thing I have ever seen.
We are telling you, this is not meant to be a good movie. It is not meant, it's a B movie for a reason. We also, if you think about it, have Rubber. I know a lot of people have typically heard of it because of, you know, Killer Tire. There's also ones such as like Oculus, which is a very current one.
That one has the killer mirror. And then the way some of these are more like ghost possession things that like take over it, but they still technically count because it's a mirror causing the death of people, and that's why we put this one on the list.
But even on Oculus, it was considered an ancient evil, meaning it wasn't even the ghost controlling it, there was something before the deaths. We have Puppet Master, which technically doesn't involve ghosts. They brought these puppets to life. I remember this movie back when I was young. I ended up watching this when I was about 9 or 10.
I was with her, but parents left. Dad and aunts and uncles are just like, the kids can watch this.
Bad idea. Don't do that to your child. Another one is called Royd. It was a very weird B movie that I happened to come across. I don't know if anybody's ever really heard of it. Basically, it is about a killer butthole. I wish I was joking, but I never actually wanted to watch it. I just remember reading about it. But yes, it is more or less about a killer butthole, and it might involve a killer hemorrhoid if I'm correct. But if you want to lose some brain cells and watch it, go for it yourself.
The world of horror never ceases to amaze me. Next up on our list is Curiosity Killed the Cat. Now this one is pretty much in line with Curiosity Killed the Cat. If you think about it, you see creepy shit, or you hear things, or you see something, and you go look for it.
White people, this is at you.
You will die, no matter what. Now, a good movie set a list is about this. Is like Hocus Pocus, Evil Dead. The biggest one we could think of was The Mummy. The Mummy. Nothing wrong could ever happen from reading a book. Mummy comes back, wants to end the world. Do we need to say more? Like, that is the biggest one. Even though it's not supposed to be a scary movie, it falls in that category.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre. People get curious about these weird houses or go explore haunted buildings. Again, it's white people. I'm looking at you guys. But ultimately, the point is curiosity killed the cat. These people go looking at these haunted, weird, abandoned buildings and ultimately find something that doesn't want them there.
And on a side note, outside of movies, another thing that plays into this is actually the video game Atlas. Now granted, he was a journalist who was called to like report on it, but his own curiosity after seeing things got him in a lot of trouble and got him damn near killed by the end of it.
Actually, again, I'm not saving anybody from spoiler warnings. We're sorry. It actually did get him killed. This man went looking into something that is so horrific and unknown that he ultimately signed his own death warrant.
Yeah. So these tropes don't fall just inside the film world or even the like fictional written world. They do come further into pop culture and video games themselves. And one of my other favorite little tropes here is danger with a deadline. Now, this is when you have something that's deadly, killing people or something, but it has a specific deadline. Some of the more common ones are like vampires. Think, you have until day for them to kill you. But we've extended this past just like little bitty horrific ones like this,
or like 24-hour time frames. We're looking at like 30 Days a Night, where it is the basis of Alaska being in pitch black for 30 days, and basically these guttural feral vampires come out and start killing this entire town. They have 30 days to survive.
Another one, if you think about it, most of you probably know, is The Ring. You have 7 days. That is the biggest one all of you know because you have 7 days to live.
We also got another good old 80s classic, Jeepers Creepers. Now this plays again to the couple of hours, a couple of days, but again it's a timeline because it only comes alive every so many years, and it only has, I think, within 24 hours to 48 hours to kill enough to survive, again, for its hibernation period. One of the next tropes we're going to talk about, and one of the last ones of this video, is what we like to call face full of alien dog. So what we are looking at is basically humans being used as incubators or breeding grounds for various alien species. One of the most classic ones we have is the face huggers from Alien. Now we also have some of the, besides that, which if you're too young to know what that is, or you've never seen a meme of this, basically it is a weird little alien creature that sticks to your face and you become an incubator, more or less, for its spawn, which becomes a chest burster. Look it up. If you're too young to even want to know what that is, ask your parents. Or watch Spaceballs. Yes, Spaceballs is kind of probably the child more friendly of this. We do have like The Mist, which while it's not the full premise of the movie, it does have parts where a man was caught by the monsters from The Mist, which is based off a Stephen King novel. And it talks about the man quoting that he could feel them inside of him. So basically his stomach was turned into a incubator for these weird creatures. Another simple one is Slither, which is a comedy horror about alien slugs.
This is more on the funny side that you basically swallow the slug and it gets you from the inside out. That's all it is, but it's funnier.
Yeah. But so far that is all we have for some of our more like well-known or not so well-known tropes. Some of our honorable mentions on this list.
We have creepy anything, add creepy to anything, creepy basement, creepy hospital, creepy child,
Creepy painting.
That's a big one. And you have it's just creepy,
Unsettling.
is in every horror movie. It's true. The other ones are like bloody handprints, which are used in horror movies, horror games, because it's signifying somebody struggling and most likely dying.
Usually you'll see it in like zombie movies, especially if it's been a long time past since the start of the quote unquote revolution. You will see the bloody handprints everywhere. Another one is eyes don't belong here, aka an eye somewhere it probably shouldn't be.
The biggest one you're gonna remember is if you've ever watched Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth, you know the man that does this and his eyes are in his palms.
AKA the Pale Man. Another one that was common in a lot of old 90s cartoons was eyes in soup or coffee. You would just basically, the character would look down and there's an eye in the soup bowl.
Another one is kind of Pacific Rim where the kaijus have eyes and their jaws in places they shouldn't be. But it's more, that one leans more towards sci-fi than it does horror.
But more or less, that trope is basically there's an eye where it probably shouldn't be. Also think of Hocus Pocus, the book eye. It's just eyes unsettling places.
And the last one we have is throwing up black things. And this is coming from possessions and zombies. You start throwing up black blood.
Usually to symbolize aka bad blood or toxins. Basically it is expelling something inside of it.
Most likely evil or life-altering, thinking of zombies.
Especially if Zombieland, that one's a very common one. Also Evil Dead, those are the two you'll probably easily see it in.
So that's all we have for today. And if you want more stuff like this, like and subscribe.
And also we will have a link down below with the trope list. That way you all can either suggest us various tropes you want us to go in more depth about, or if you just want to look for your own. But besides that, bye!